That's an option.
Anything's an option. All right, so I'll hit a couple buttons that I don't know what they do, so the people at home have something nice to listen to. I'll do the music, and then we'll do the intro.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Side Scheme, a podcast about everybody's favorite superhero card game, Marvel Champions. I'm your host, BananaCrapshoot. A lot of exciting stuff happening. Maybe not at your house where you're stuck, but in Marvel Champions we got some stuff going on. And here to talk about it with me, as always, after a cat nap, is my perfectly balanced co-host, Tommy of Titan. Tommy, how are you?
What's up, Banana? I am eternally sorry for dozing off as I battled to get my oldest to sleep tonight. He outlasted us, my wife and I both. But alas, I'm here, and you and our guest were both kind enough to wait and hang in there for me.
Oh yeah, man, anytime. I guess we'll just bring him in right away now when I guess you got a message from him, right? When the Red Skull stuff was announced, and he's like, if you guys are going to talk about it, I want to talk about it with you. Is that how that went? So he invited himself, actually, so I don't know why he's here.
He's got an open door policy for our friend here.
Yep, I agree. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, you know what? It's critical we have him back on the show.
It is critical.
So with us tonight from the Criticals Encounters podcast is Steve. Steve,
hey
how are you
guys,
doing?
thanks for having me on.
This is not witness protection, but I love it anyway.
My return is inevitable.
Are you doing the whole thing like this? I don't know.
I'm not going to do the whole show.
Okay. I was going to say, man, I don't know.
Were you ready for that? Was that something that was planned while I was asleep? Or
no? It sounded like Darth Maul for a second there.
I didn't tell anyone.
That was pretty good. Like, was that the Spider-Man interrogation mode voice? Is that what that was?
I'd tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Yep, that's definitely what it is.
Actually, it says that the name of that voice is Titan, and it looks like a really bad version of Thanos.
Well, it sounds like in Spider-Man Homecoming when he's doing interrogation mode talking to the Prowler, and he's that's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
But anyways, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Ready to talk about some Red Skull and stuff.
Yeah, I think we're all excited, right?
Yeah.
absolutely.
If you're not excited about this box, there's a good game. All right, so this box is coming out, new campaign box, sometime in the future, we hope. The Rise of Red Skull, first campaign expansion for the game. And if you're not excited for that, there's a good dying game I know you can go play called Star Wars Destiny.
Just firing shots all the time, 24/7. Doesn't even matter.
But first, I think we talk about some games we've been playing, some fun we've been having with Marvel Champions. So, Tommy, you got some fun, exciting stories to enthrall the listeners with from some recent games?
Sure. We've been playing our draft league from our Discord channel. We had 8 players get together and all draft some image or some heroes and aspects. So we had to play something off the beaten path a little bit, and you were kind enough to make an insanely hard schedule for us.
Admittedly, too hard.
Yep. Yes, we're going to definitely scale that back in the future.
Maybe we start out with
season
standard
2.
Rhino next time. That's
Yeah, maybe we'll go there. But alas, we've been chugging along, and I lost my first round game. I think we spoke about that on the previous podcast, but I played my second game, which was against Wrecking Crew Heroic 1. And that one was going really great until, man, I don't know if it was probably about round 10 or 11 when I had just cycled my deck for the third time and only Wrecker and Bulldozer were left. I had to go through 3 encounter cards that round off of Wrecker's deck, one of which caused Bulldozer to attack me, and he had both of his upgrades that provide him with +2 damage and force me to block with an ally, and I had a vision on the table and 5 life left on Ms. Marvel. So, yes, I perished that round, unfortunately. I think it was a misplay on my part because, obviously, since I had gone through my deck so many times, I had seen my endurance, and I never had a round where I put it on the table, and I definitely should have stuck that down at some point. But I was in control for most of the game, and I never felt in dire need of it. And of course, when I was beginning to take some damage, I wish I had it, and I didn't.
Is that a feels bad moment?
Yeah, I mean, it felt bad, but it was. I guess it was coming.
That heroic on Wrecking Crew really steps that up a notch.
Yeah, I was going to ask how, with only like 15 card decks, you're drawing that extra card. Did they cycle through their decks pretty quick on you?
They went through pretty quick. I only had one acceleration token because I was able to keep pace, and because it's one player, so their health totals aren't insane. But I mean, it's still a ton of health comparatively to a standard villain. I think the lowest one is we did B side, so not A and B. But the lowest one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Pile Driver with 14, and then they all go up from there, with Wrecker being the highest at 18. So it's still a lot of damage you have to do over the course of the game. But as Pile Driver got his taunt upgrade down, you're able to kill him relatively quickly. A handful of events, a couple ally attacks later, and he was down. So, by the time their decks were getting low is when they seemed to be getting KO'd anyway.
Okay, cool.
That it? That all you got?
That's all I got. I'm 0-2. Right. I'm just struggling along in Draft League, so hopefully I can get there and steal a win against Claw. But I'm not optimistic.
Everybody thinks they're just going to fall flat on their face when it comes to that Ultron. It is.
Yeah, I have no prayer of beating Ultron Heroic 2. Thank you very much.
With Power Drain.
Yeah.
So if you like acceleration tokens, have I got the encounter for you? I am also 1-1. I also lost to the Wrecking Crew on Heroic 1. I was 3 damage short with Captain Marvel Justice, and I got attacked 3 times by Thunderball the last round, and I could only handle blocking one of those attacks. So Thunderball got the best of me there. So we got 2 more weeks, right? We're doing like a 4-week deal on this, right?
Yeah, we're gonna hard cap it, which I was hoping we didn't have to. I was just hoping people were just gonna jam games, but it's taking. People are a little busy, I guess, so it's taking a little while.
People are stuck at home. How are they so busy?
I mean, some people are working from home. I know Scott is actually working like 60 hours a week because he works for an accounting firm, and this is his busy season actually. So,
yep, that makes sense. Steve, you got any critical games in recently?
Yeah, I played a 2-player game yesterday on Tabletop Simulator with my friend, and we built like 2-minute decks right there. So we put together a Thor Justice, because I haven't played him with anything but aggression, and a Captain America Aggression, which I hadn't done either. And we decided to take on Rhino Heroic 1, because him and I previously got stomped by Rhino Heroic 2 with the Doomsday Chair. Embarrassingly, just got beat up pretty bad. So we're like, let's try it again. And we put in Bomb Scare. Because,
because you were scared at that point.
That's what it says to play with, right? That's what it says to play with. And it was a much different game. We had a good time. With just thwarting and events coming out for Justice coming out of Thor, it still was very difficult for us to get rid of threat, it felt like. But we were putting a beat down on him pretty fast. The shine card is for us in that game was under surveillance, where the main scheme goes up by +4 before it loses, right? So you attach that to the main scheme, and now the villain doesn't win until he gets 4 more threat on it. And we actually went to like 15 or 16 threat at one point, which we would have lost had that card not been out. So that was our MVP, and then we were able to get it back down to like 6. We just did not have the right cards in our hand, and we got a couple advances and things like that. But I think that heroic mode really adds a lot to the game. It definitely makes it harder and just a little bit of a puzzle. So I don't know how you're going to do Ultron Heroic 2. Good luck on that. So
I mean,
it's because we have a masochistic schedule maker over here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, we hadn't played any heroic games, right? It was the day the article came out when we
Yes.
decided to schedule. Like, you know what? We're all pros, right? Let's go for it. I was like, we'll do expert mutagen, right? That'll ease us in, right? You know, that's hard, and then boom, it'll just ramp from there.
Easing us in.
That's the easy one. Yeah.
Yeah, expert mutagen's the easy one. with running interference.
Yeah, running interference. Jeez.
So then you get media coverage, and then you gotta reveal. You gotta trigger the when revealed on the encounter cards twice.
Yeah, there's like some no-win scenarios in just that one. If you get that media coverage round 1.
So in multiplayer, I know you guys you're playing solo in your draft league. With multiplayer, you're seeing 2 cards. Like, we're playing 2-player, we're seeing 4 cards. We had the occasional hazard, the occasional player deck run out where we're getting 3 cards. So we had a turn where we had 6 encounter cards out. We had Master Plan come up while there was a ton of side schemes out. We had that hit like 2 times where we had 3 or 4 side schemes out. Loki came out for Thor. We killed him. We had to kill him like 3 times because
Oh my gosh.
it was always a treachery every time we tried to kill him. And Loki's side scheme, which was fun, adds threat equal to the number of Asgard cards that are in play. Well, I was playing Aggression, and I put in Bjorn and Valkyrie, and so Captain America had just as many Asgard cards out as Thor when that came out. So at one point there was like 21 threat on Loki's side scheme. We're like, we're never going there. We're barely able to
ignore Thor's nemesis and all of the kit.
We're barely able to get the threat off of crowd control or whatever that one is in order to take threat off the main scheme, because neither one of us are. I mean, Thor Justice even still isn't great, but we still won. We pulled the victory out. We just piled on a couple hammers to the face, that kind of thing. But I definitely like it for adding a little bit more to it, and it's easy to remember, right? You like draw another card, off you go.
Yep. Actually, I think heroic mode is a really great solution. I know that there was some debate on Facebook, and yes, I agree. It's far less elegant than like nightmare kits to spice up encounter sets. I mean, honestly, like a nightmare kit and heroic mode are 2 completely different things, because a nightmare kit's like a product that you actually buy,
right?
Or is provided at like some sort of OP event. So I think it's a completely different thing, even though it's a new way to like spice up old sets and make them harder. Heroic mode, I think people were saying, is a little too random for them, and I think that because of the way it scales in the game, and the nature of the variable of cards off the deck and what decks you're playing and how good of a player you are and so on and so forth, I think that there's like a sweet spot for each encounter that is good for each individual group or play group or player, where like Rhino Heroic 1 or 2 might be like really perfect and fun, and then like Ultron 2 is just stupid and insane. You know what I mean? Where like there's like, but like if you get a really good play group and maybe down the road when the card pool's expanded for the players and the heroes are expanded and maybe power creep's a thing, maybe Ultron 2 becomes like a lot more feasible, but it still keeps it interesting in the future. So I think it's a really great solution. Are you going to get your doors blown off if you start doing Heroic 2 and Heroic 3? Absolutely. But, you know, maybe in the future you won't. And for the time being, maybe Heroic 1 is a really great solution to spice up a lot of these older encounters from the core set.
I agree 100%, and anybody that disagrees is just wrong. So,
yep, there you go. You heard it.
That's my take. All right, so you guys want to jump into all the hotness, all the rage going on in the Marvel Champions world right now with the Rise of Red Skull campaign box?
I'm not interested in this stuff at all.
With the what?
I haven't seen. I haven't. For you.
Was there something good that happened?
Who knows?
Did something happen?
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, the Rise of Red Skull coming out sometime in the future. Viruses, I guess.
They seem somewhat optimistic in the dialogue that they had, where they were thinking, late quarter 3. I think
you guys. Yes, I think they said quarter 3 was what they were.
So hopefully the Gamma prediction was extraordinarily conservative, and quarter 3 is actually on the table. But it's FFG, so it's a coin flip. You have no idea.
Unless it's on the boat right now, FFG is not. Yeah, unless it's on the boat right now, FFG's track record is not great. So add everything that's going on. Like, wow, okay. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll get it right now. I can't, Black Widow's pushed back. My store doesn't know if they're going to even have it after all of this. So.
Man, did you guys each watch the FFG stream for this?
I did see it.
Yep, I watched it twice to prep for this, and then that's how I fell asleep the second time. So.
All right, so I'm checking all the cards out on hallofheroeslcg.com. It's a great resource for the game. Not affiliated with us at all, just a great resource for the game. So there you go, Chris. You got a plug for me. So I'll read some of this blurb here. It's confirmed to be 2 heroes with pre-built decks and 5 scenarios with a connected thread and upgrades that you earn throughout the expansion. They have a campaign log. You can also use the 5 scenarios to play standalone currently, like we do now with the packs we have access to. And there's going to be 3 additional modular sets in the box. It contains 265 cards. 1 copy will give a full playset like the core set. There's 5 new keywords. Ranged and piercing are 2 we see in the cards. The villains are Crossbones, Absorbing Man, Taskmaster, Zola, and Red Skull. And we'll talk about it later, but when we talk about Taskmaster, but they talked about what happens when you draw Shadows of the Past, and you're playing Black Widow. As I said, there's no plan to replace any cards in the hero deck, so if you are playing Captain Marvel with someone who's playing Spider-Woman, Spider-Woman basically becomes a dead card in Captain Marvel, other than it generates a wild resource. And the campaign will have comic panels that tell the story of the campaign, so that looks pretty cool. Do you guys have any thoughts on that initial blurb of information?
I'll add in, they said there was 265 new cards at a $40 price point, and no additional tokens, components, or dials. But it seems like a decent number of cards for the cost. So I don't know if anybody would not get it because of that, but it seems like it should be right on where my wallet can handle it.
Yeah, it seems like a great value to me.
Yeah.
I think 2 heroes is a good number of new heroes. It's nice that they're pre-constructed decks so that they're playable out of the box. I think what people were hoping for when they were talking about the components and asking those questions is maybe they were hoping that this was a second core set light, and that you could start here as opposed to starting with the core set. But you still need, if you want the components, you need the core set, and you're going to need the standard 7 card set that you would use for everything but the Wrecking Crew to this point. But I'm excited because it's 5 new encounters, and that's really, in my opinion, what the game needs. The heroes are awesome, and they're extremely exciting looking, and I know we're going to get into that. But just the quantity of encounter sets that come in this box, for me, that's what makes me want to get the box.
Yeah, we definitely need the villains.
Yeah, I mean, just for the draft league we're running alone, I need more encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it seems... I mean, I'm excited for it. I like the 5 villains. I agree that's the most exciting part to me. give us more stuff
Yeah.
to fight.
When they were talking about campaign mode, they kind of mentioned, and maybe I got this off a little bit. They mentioned campaign mode. You're going to play them in order. You're going to track results. There's going to be upgrades for the villain, your campaign log. But they also mentioned that like there's standard rules and everything, but there's also going to be some sort of additional expert mode that could change the gameplay, I think, beyond how campaign mode works. They mentioned things like persistent hit points from adventure to adventure and things of that nature. So that could be an interesting piece too, to end the game with only 4 hit points against Crossbones and then have to go into Absorbing Man already hurt, right? So that could be an interesting piece for the whole campaign concept. I like that.
Sure. I like that too. It feels like you're going right into the next one. And I always kind of like, whenever I pitch this game to somebody, I always pitch it as like think you're playing like an RPG video game, and it's like a boss battle or a raid or something like that, and you're going into that encounter, and you're fighting Green Goblin or whoever. And now it seems like it's like this campaign almost equates to like a chat. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever played the new Marvel. That's not new. The Switch game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, or any of those games, where like there's different modes where like you fight back-to-back boss battles with new twists on each one. And this kind of reminds me of something like that, like in that video game comparison or analogy, where you go like, all right, we're fighting this boss, and then you fight this boss immediately after, and there's no downtime. And I'm interested in that. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to challenge us a little more. I like that. I do wonder when they say the persistent hit points thing. There are enough ways where you would increase your hit points in this game, whether it's like Honorary Avenger or Endurance or something. What if you've taken more damage than you have printed starting hit points?
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you get to keep the Endurance?
I'm sure that's going to be, I don't know if you're keeping somewhat of a board state or if you're reset to some, I don't know. That's interesting because I think that a lot of the challenge in the game is the getting set up part. So I don't really want a board state, because I think in the early game is when some of the heroes are most vulnerable. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, see how it goes. The comic panel looks kind of fun too.
Yeah, I think
it does.
It looks good. It's a good idea for this game to tell the story of the campaign box for sure.
Yeah.
One thing they did say too about the campaign is there are cards that are specific to the campaign that you will not use when you're playing the villains, like in a standard encounter like we currently do with like Green Goblin or Claw.
Yeah, that's something that they've done in their other ones, Arkham and Lord of the Rings, where you might have a reward that you get or a campaign boon or burden or something. So that makes sense. You're not going to deck build in with some card that you get from this campaign against Rhino.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that later, unless you want to dive into that one card right now that we have spoiled.
Which one?
The one there's the one here. Yeah, it's like it's an ally, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's get into it. We're getting into cards, people. White Tiger.
So White Tiger is a 0, 3 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points, 1 consequential damage on both of the previous stats, and the ability, which is translated from some like check leak or preview or something. It says after you play White Tiger from your hand, spend resource to remove 3 threat from a scheme. So I'm not sure how to quantify that exactly, if it's like one resource to threat ratio or not, but any 0 cost ally that has 3 thwart and 3 life seems real good to me. But the numbering says Taskmaster 7 of 23. So I am like totally thrown off by what that is.
Well, her traits, her second trait is Mercenary Hero, but her first trait is Prisoner.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Right? It's not listed on their thing. I did a little checking on this before we started casting, and that first word starts with a Z. I'm not even going to try to say it. Translates to prisoner. So you rescue her, you save her. Maybe she's attached to a side scheme. Maybe she's part of the campaign. Obviously in Taskmaster set, you save her somehow. Now you get to have her. Maybe she comes right out. Maybe you don't get to put her in your deck. Maybe you only get her for that adventure if you save her just for that scenario. So
that's interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think that gives away. You're going to have to rescue her in order to bring her into play. So
yeah, I like that. That makes more sense.
It's very superhero. So feels good.
It is extremely superhero.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, stats look great. So
yeah, I mean, she's
kinda
busted
ally.
good for 0.
You could only put her in something like that.
She's
Too
busted.
good.
Well,
Anything's busted for 0. Ally 0, 0, and 1 health as a blocker is borderline busted.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Would have been quite helpful against Wrecking Crew. So while we're here, I guess we'll hit the other 2 check cards. So Steve, I'll let you pick one, whichever one you want to hit.
All right, I'll do Spider-Man. Peter Parker. He's a 5-cost Justice ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack. The Avenger trait, 4 health, and he has a response. I believe it's going to be something like, after he enters play, remove 3 threat per player from a side scheme. 3 threat per player when he comes out. So in a 4-player game, there goes that side scheme. Boom.
Is this
That's the only way you're getting rid of that Loki one.
Right, right. Even then, it had 4 on it, but I mean, he cost 5.
Yeah, so Thor ain't playing him.
Yeah, that's your whole turn. That's your card, because that's going to require basically a 6-card investment unless you've got a lot of resource cards on the table.
Yeah, you need help from your friend at the table. Hey, can I use your helicarrier? That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean he's got a good stat line, but it's just I don't know, cards that cost that much really pigeonhole you.
I mean, Heimdall costs that much. Would you rather have Heimdall?
Nope, I wouldn't. I don't like either of them personally. I have a hard time including 4-cost cards in decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're playing She-Hulk, you can't put him out, right?
Yeah, I mean you really can't unless you have Mansion and Helicarrier.
I think he is definitely a multiplayer type card because you're going to need help from your buddies, and he scales with more players, so it's going to be really good. I mean, that's a one-shot off of like the Doomsday Chair that comes out with 8 threat on it. And if you're playing 3 players, boom, Spider-Man, Doomsday Chair, gone. So it's definitely, I almost think, better in multiplayer.
It's definitely more feasible to play.
Right.
Is this the first time we've seen that per player used in an ability for the heroes?
I think so.
That's a good question.
I don't think we've seen it for a player card anywhere.
I don't think so either.
Because even things like Falcon, he's just 3 cards. He's not 3 cards per player. So he's better in solo than he is in multiplayer. Yeah, I think it's probably the first time.
Interesting. Any more on Spider-Man other than he's good, but he costs a lot?
It's got nice art on it.
It does.
It does.
Fair.
It's way better than Winter Soldier.
Ugh. What card isn't?
Yeah. Exactly. The last one we got here from the Czech publisher is Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It's a 0-cost event that exhausts an Avenger character you control to ready another Avenger character. That seems pretty busted.
Yeah, that seems like a really, really good card.
Like, let me exhaust Squirrel Girl to ready something else. Myself. Vision.
Yep.
Whatever. The Hulk.
Yeah, it seems way too good. I'm thinking this might be something tied to a campaign reward or something. Because I don't know, it feels, especially if you could include 3 of these in your deck as like a leadership player, I'd be all about that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, if you don't have an ally out at the time, it's not as good.
It's definitely not. But I feel like I think most leadership decks are packing between like 6 and 8 allies, and then 3 make the calls. And leadership has enough cheap allies where you would be playing this with cheaper allies. I mean, maybe you use a Wonder Man on a turn where you don't have a card to discard to ready a vision that you've pumped, or
Oh yeah, it's not that hard to do.
yeah, I think that you're going to have situations where you'll have Squirrel Girl, Maria Hill, Wonder Man, somebody cheap that you don't want to attack with that round to ready, whether it's Cap or whoever your hero is. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
Avenger. Oh, and an Avenger you controlled already.
So it can't be Maria Hill unless it's Honorary Avenger up, which is probably not likely.
Yeah. And they have to both be cards you control.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't exhaust Squirgle to ready your buddy's card. So
no.
That I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's strong.
It's pretty mighty.
It is pretty mighty.
Pretty mighty. Yeah.
So that's the Czech publisher stuff. Do we want to jump into Hawkeye? You want to start off with Hawkeye?
Yeah, let's do it. Are we going to come back to those Czech villains?
Czech villains?
We can do villains together. Yeah, we get...
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Taskmaster and Red Skull.
Yeah, we could save those for later, though, because those are probably later in the campaign.
Yeah, so we'll just go to Hawkeye. Tommy, you want to read off Clint Barton and Hawkeye?
Sure. Clint Barton is cruising around in his red... Is that like a Mustang of some sort? Or, I don't know, some muscle car, maybe? I think. He is shield, 3 recovery, and his ability is an action. It's called Weapon of Choice. It says spend 1 resource of any type, search your deck, and discard pile for Hawkeye's bow and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck, limit once per phase. So we got another character that is tied very closely to his weapon of choice or item of choice, and he's got to go get that bow. It makes you think it's going to be pretty important to what he does as a hero. Oh, he has a hand size of 6, which is right on par, and hit points of 9, which feels very appropriate for just a guy with some real good aim. So
yeah, that's the same as like Black Widow and Tony Stark have, right? So
mm-hmm. I love that, though. I think that I like it when it's at least matches theme. You got to balance it in other ways. You can scale power in other ways, but make them the fragile, people that they're supposed to be, at least.
Yep.
Why do you have to spend a resource to find his bow? You don't gotta, like Captain America doesn't have to spend a resource to find his shield. Thor don't have to spend a resource to find Mjolnir. Why do we have to spend a resource to find his bow?
Captain America can only do it during setup. That's
it.
Once he drops his shield, he never can get it back again. Right? You got to cycle your deck to pick your shield back up. Clint can get it anytime.
Well, Thor can get Mjolnir anytime.
Yeah, Thor can. I wasn't talking about Thor.
But I guess that's because he's the mighty Thor, and Clint Barton is just
that's a magic hammer. It's not a magic bow.
Yeah,
it was. I don't think Hawkeye's bow was forged in the heart of a dying star. So
I wonder if
by Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
So the bow, getting your bow is an action. It's not like a setup where like Black Panther, right? He starts with 1. Captain America starts with 1. I wonder if there'd be a reason for his bow to end up back in his deck other than it got discarded and you had to shuffle. Because it says search your deck and discard pile. And I know you'd use it right away, but I'm curious if there's a reason that you could... If we'll see a card where...
I mean, there are villain cards or encounter cards that hit your upgrades. Like if it's your only upgrade, I could see a situation where you have to get rid of the bow, or maybe you opt to get rid of the bow because of its cost. I mean, there might be situations like that, so maybe they're just making them a little more flexible.
Yeah.
But,
what's odd to me also is this limit once per phase wording, because it's like, when in the villain phase are you going to be looking for your bow?
Yeah, I don't think you get an action window in the villain phase at all.
No, so
No, this is one of those weird FFG wording where everything's not homogenized.
Yeah, it may as well just be once per round.
Yeah.
Or turn, or how, choose a word. It's happening once.
Yeah. They're not as picky as their wording as the players want them to be.
this is true.
Maybe on the reprint.
But every time you use this ability, you have to play the Fat Boy Slim music with Christopher Walken dancing for weapon of choice.
I just have that on loop anyway, so.
Okay.
Oh, now I gotta find it, and it's gotta be in the episode.
Oh, no.
So
Well,
It's on
I'll
YouTube.
I'll jump into
read-
Hawkeye while you find it.
Read Hawkeye while I'm doing that. Yeah.
Hawkeye is the hero side is a 1 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense. Avenger, quick draw is his ability. It says action, exhaust Hawkeye to ready Hawkeye's bow. He has a hand size of 5 and again hit points of 9. So he is, again, you're seeing the recurring theme of his bow and keeping it centralized around that, as it should be, because that is really his only superpower. But he's got the 2 attack because he's a skilled combatant, which I like for thematic purposes. So I think he looks on the surface just hero card alone in a vacuum. You obviously need to know what his bow does and the cards surrounding that to really have a good opinion. But you're thinking, okay, if the bow does stuff, he's fine.
Yeah, and if you can ready use Squirrel Girl, exhaust Herd, or ready Hawkeye, then you can ready his bow a second time. So we already have a combo here. So
Ooh, I like where your head's at.
that's right. Rapid shot here.
Yeah.
Fully auto bow and arrow.
You just want to go into his bow, Tommy? I mean, I
Sure.
don't think there's much
Yeah.
more to say about Hawkeye.
Yeah,
His
we
kit's
need to
more
see the
exciting
full
than he
picture.
is. So
So Hawkeye's bow, 0 cost upgrade. So there's why it costs a resource to search it, because it is a 0 cost upgrade. It is unique, a weapon, restricted, and it is, game text says your hero gets +1 attack, and each of your arrow attacks gains ranged. And ranged is a new keyword. Ranged attacks ignore retaliate, which is nice, and it provides a wild resource. So there you go. Hawkeye goes up to a 3 attack. Your arrow attacks are going to get that nice ranged keyword. And we still really don't have any great idea of what significance this bow plays other than we get 3 attack. But why would we ever want to ready it?
But we do know that Hawkeye with his bow hits as hard as Thor with Mjolnir.
It's true. That's true.
Yep.
Which seems very wrong, and it hurts my soul a little bit.
Well, I don't know if Hawkeye's going to hit the same peak that Thor is with his hammer throw events. So, for whatever that's worth.
I mean, we'll get into at least this one arrow looks pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, they look really strong. But like hammer throw, it's a pretty massive chunk of damage. But that should have ranged, right? Now that we got that keyword.
Sure.
Yeah, hammer throw, repulsor blast.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot of them. Pretty much everything.
That's how it goes. Whenever you introduce a new keyword,
Yeah.
You want to change it. Go back and change everything, which totally destroys the balance of the game. So, it's something you got to live with.
It's like
Not
swinging
uppercut.
web kick is the only swinging web kick, uppercut, and haymaker are the only 3 that don't have range.
Melee.
Oh yeah, melee. Yep.
Yeah, that's right in the name. So.
Yes, it is. Now we need a one that's just called ranged.
Nice. Ranged attack. Yeah, it's an upgrade that gives your attacks ranged keyword. There we go.
Makes sense for a bow. I'll read off his quiver, I guess.
Sure.
Hawkeye's quiver costs 1, generates a mental resource. It is an item. It says you may play an arrow event attached to this card as if they were in your hand. And as a hero action, exhaust Hawkeye's quiver. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for an arrow event and attach it face up to this card. So this card's really good.
The card's amazing.
It artificially increases your hand size, thins your deck, so it does all the things you want it to do, to dish out some damage eventually.
I don't think it shuffles your deck either when you search those top 5.
Only if you have 5 or less cards there.
Yeah. If you search your entire deck, you have to reshuffle it. So technically, you kind of know the order of how things are going to go. So you should know, like, oh, it does that Avengers Mansion, really help me out, or should I pass that off to somebody? Does, whatever card drawing effects. You'll have a good idea or what you're getting next turn, tracking that. So it's definitely got some utility that isn't as apparent as the rest of it. But all around, just it's an amazing one-cost upgrade, in my opinion, since it's effectively almost drawing you a card every turn. And stashing it if you need it.
Yeah. That's the thing, is how many arrows do you think we're going to have in his deck, right? Like, did they say? I don't remember if they said.
I don't think they said, but
Yeah.
I got to imagine it's at least 5 or 6, I would hope. It's got, like, at the bare minimum, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
not 5 or 6 unique, but 5 or 6 total.
Right, so if you get like even 3, right? We'll say you get 3 arrows stashed under this thing, and you're still drawing up to 5 with Avengers Mansion, right? The access you have there, to just hand size is pretty big. The effective hand size to do good things. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can pull out whatever arrow it is hopefully you get it. You can pull out whatever you need if you see multiple types. I was curious about the shuffle. I didn't catch that. That's pretty cool that it's not going to shuffle, because the rulebook does say, upon completion of an ability that searches an entire deck, shuffle the deck.
Yeah.
And you're just doing 5. That's cool. I didn't catch that.
It begs the question too. Like, you got to make sure that you keep them in the same order. I'm assuming, because you can't just put them back in any order. I would imagine.
Yeah, I would
imagine
they have to go back, or else it would specify put them back in any order.
Yeah. So I mean, we might be splitting hairs there, but I would imagine that that's what happens if, like, in playtesting, somebody had to have asked that question.
Yeah.
But, so you want to move on to an arrow?
Sure, let's do it.
I'll take Sonic Arrow. 2-cost event. It has the arrow and attack traits. It's a hero action. Attack, exhaust Hawkeye's bow. There it is. That's why you need that bow. Confuse an enemy and deal 3 damage to it. 5 damage instead if it is already confused. And man, is the flavor text so good. It's E. So that
2
is
for 3.
that's
That's all right.
yeah, 2 for 3 and a confused. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, it's right on there with concussive blow. It's slightly more efficient, which you would expect from one of the signature cards. And the potential to do 5 damage in a situation where they're already confused.
Yeah, I like that little caveat there. Like, if you've already confused them, it's still doing a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for 5 that's pretty good value. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're on Relentless Assault without the stipulation at that point.
Yeah.
Seems good.
But yeah, I think you guys hit it already. There's not much else to say.
It's a mental resource for whatever that's worth.
Steve, you want to read off Explosive Arrow?
Yeah. All right. Explosive Arrow is a 1-cost event. It has a physical resource, the trait of Arrow, hero action, exhaust Hawkeye's bow, and choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player.
Ridiculous.
That's a lot of damage for one,
Ridiculous.
potentially. Also, not an attack, so it gets around stun.
Yep.
And guard.
Yep.
Retaliate, although I guess it's ranged. Yeah, that's pretty good. 3 damage to everything.
That's real good for
Yeah.
one
For one damage.
cost. Yeah. Now we say that, but also, like, I don't think people think Black Panther's completely busted. I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. But, like, once he's set up, Wakanda Forever for 1 is insane value. So we're comparing it to that. 1 for 3 to everything is still really freaking good.
Yeah, because if you want to use Thor's lightning strike to do 3 damage to everything, you have to spend 4 resources.
Yep.
Right? 1 for lightning strike, and then 3 more
Lightning resources, yeah.
Yeah, It's pretty darn good.
I think is it only you can do the stuff engaged with you, or is it any player? I can't remember.
It says choose lightning strike?
Yeah.
Only you.
Yeah, so it's even less flexible and more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card's ridiculously good. That's all I have to say about it.
My guess
there's
is
2 here. Go ahead.
I was going to say my guess is we get 1 of each type of arrow. No duplicate arrows. That's my guess.
That'd be interesting. This is definitely one I almost don't want to see multiple of. I wouldn't if you got 2 Sonic Arrow, I'd be okay with that. I feel like it's a much fairer card than Explosive Arrow. Explosive Arrow is just insane. And 3 is such a good number too, because it hits a lot of guard minions or a lot of the existing guard minions. I mean, you don't get the Hydra soldiers from Legions of Hydra, but you get the Goblin Thralls, you get the whatever claws cronies are called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we might get double Sonic Arrows since it has the if they're already confused. So if you shoot them twice, maybe we get 2 Sonic Arrows.
My guess is we get 4 different types of arrows, and we get 2 of each.
2 of each.
That's my guess.
Man, I hope there's not 2 Explosive Arrows. It's too good.
Oh, there's going to be 2.
Probably. You're probably right, but it seems so good.
Yeah, it is. But...
Now the trick of that explosive arrow, though, the real cost is that you're exhausting the bow, which means you can't use any other arrows that turn.
Well, you could exhaust Hawkeye.
To ready. Okay, so you get... Yep. Okay, so you can shoot twice.
Yeah, you can shoot twice unless Hawkeye gets hit with something like exhaustion or has to block, something like that.
Right, because you got.
I like the fact that he's just a 3 attack. If arrow, he's still a 3 attack. So I mean, he's still got value with that bow.
Yeah,
to hit something hard.
Yep.
Even if he can't fire a road rocket, he can still hit somebody as hard as Thor can. So. Alright, I guess we'll go to one of the leadership cards we see that comes with him. So he has a pre-built leadership deck, and it is Team Training, which is a 2-cost support, is a condition, play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Each ally you control gets +1 hit point. I think this seems really like a really good, solid design card. In reality, I don't know if it will make the cut or not, but I think it's a good card. But
yeah, this is sort of the leadership's version of combat training, heroic intuition. Right? We hadn't gotten one of those where you had a leadership card that you could play under another player's control.
Inspired.
Yeah, that's an event, though, right?
No, it's an upgrade. That upgrades it. You can play it under an ally.
Right, attaches to the ally, but not to the player. Right? So this is out. Once you put this out, every ally they bring into play is always going to have that extra hit point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're playing the leadership, well, you maybe just put one out for yourself, but
it's a good. I think it's good value in a lot of situations, but I also see a lot of situations where it's not great value because I feel like if it's a tough scenario that you're playing, there's going to be a lot of times where you have to block with your allies prematurely, and when I say prematurely, I mean prior to them having 1 remaining hit point. So yeah. It's like in a situation where there's a lot of overkill, it's definitely got a little more value. I don't know. I have mixed feelings because I feel like it's really good, and I feel like allies in general are very strong. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it yet.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one we'll have to play more just to really know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
I like sticking allies on the table. I like building a souped up vision with Inspired that I'm going to play Get Ready on and pump frequently. So I mean, it allows me to get more wiggle room on the vision. but I don't know. I just don't know.
But it thins your deck out a little too, right? So you can get back to those allies. Since
That's true.
It can sit out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 cost is just a little. I don't know. I think it's a well-designed card because I have, a card that's like, oh, that's busted, it's going in, or a card that's, oh, that's never going to make the cut. That's not what you want. You want cards that are going to make you think that might fill a role. Even a niche card is better than something that's just worthless or too good as far as design goes. So I think it's a really well-balanced card, but we'll see where it lands.
Steve, do you want to read Hawkeye? The ally?
Hawkeye. Yeah. So the Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, is a unique ally in the leadership for 2 with 1 thwart, 2 attack, 2 health, the Avenger trait, and action. Exhaust this ally and discard 1 card from your hand. Deal X damage to an enemy where X is the number of printed resources on that card and has a physical resource. So yeah, she's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I can say is I don't see myself having a surplus of resources to the point where I find myself wanting to ever discard, like energy or genius from my hand to deal 2 damage. So I don't see that action being particularly useful outside of I have 1 card left in hand, I'll throw a ping out of 1 damage, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine, just to make sure you've hit your max efficiency and you're going to draw back up anyway. She sticks around to block or live to fight another day kind of thing, and that's fine.
What do you think about her in like a Black Panther leadership deck where he has 2 copies of Vibranium too? That he might have
that's
that
more,
double resource more readily available.
That's more plausible. I hadn't thought of that. I like that take.
Captain Marvel with Genius.
Captain Marvel.
With Energy.
Or Hulk's coming out with the Smash one, whatever it is.
Limitless Strength.
I mean, Hulk, I don't think is going to be able to afford it.
No.
I don't think you're going to be able to do that with him. I thought of Captain Marvel because whenever I see leadership cards, Captain Marvel's kind of the character that I think I like to play best with leadership. I avoid Captain America at pretty much all costs, but I like the way Captain Marvel plays with leadership. So that's what I go to. But even still, I just don't see myself wanting to do that. I mean, what you could discard energy absorption and put the 3 counters onto her energy channels, and that would equate to
6
more damage. Yeah, like double the amount of damage that you would get from this action.
Yeah.
So, or I can pay for another ally, which is going to be more damage than 3 in most situations, or equivalent value, whether it's thwart or blocking or whatever. So I just don't see a lot of outside of the Black Panther argument. I can see that being a situation where you're like, I just have a hand of resources.
I think maybe she's kind of a cheap Avenger, right? If you're building like an Avenger focused deck,
for sure,
and you're using her for those other type things that you want to use for an Avengers deck, and then that occasional round where you, like you said, where you're trying to get maximum efficiency and you have a leftover card. But I don't see you building for her or specifically using her. Yeah. I don't know.
I think as far as 2-cost allies, like I like 2-cost allies. I like cheap cards. I like allies. So it's kind of it's we're speaking in terms of like this is already has value. 2 attack is really good on a 2-cost ally, but in comparison to like Squirrel Girl or Maria Hill or the Hulk, or is Black Cat 2? I think she's a 2-cost ally, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's a little different because she's a signature set, but I think that she's on the weaker end of 2-cost allies, but still definitely not bad. Like, she's a blocker when she needs to be. If you don't need her to be a blocker, you can keep her for another round, and she's got the utility of, I'll be able to get 1 more damage out of her and then still block later. So I think she's good. I just don't think she's going to slot into every hero or every leadership deck. Because now it's getting competitive. By the time this box comes out, we're going to have a lot of allies available. And you can't really include... I feel like 8 would be like the most you could ever include, and I feel like that's too much.
I think her neatest feature is she's a unique Hawkeye that is not Clint Barton. Like, she's our first version of a superhero name that is a different person.
Yeah.
Is that right? Right? We don't have Spider-Man, Miles Morales. We have 2 Hawkeyes now, but they're both different. So that's kind of neat.
I definitely like that, and I like that it's in Hawkeye's pack.
Hawkeye's pack, yeah.
It's also cuts out the, well, can you include her in the Hawkeye because she's unique? Hawkeye's unique. Can they occupy the same space? But it's because she's Hawkeye Kate Bishop. Obviously, they're not the same person. So, I guess 2 people can have that mantle at the same time.
Yeah.
In this universe.
I don't know anything about Kate Bishop, so it's interesting.
I think she's a young Avenger, but I'm not positive.
Oh, it's just neat to see the developers doing that kind of stuff. That gives us hope to see other, like Miles Morales or things like that. So.
Miles Morales is a good, cool character. So definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll move into Spider-Woman. I'll read off just
this card's garbage.
Yeah. So Jessica Drew, 3 recovery, hand size of 6, hit points 11. Alter ego side is shield and spy. Ability double agent. Choose 2 aspects instead of 1 during deck building. You must include an equal number of cards from those aspects in your deck. And she has an action. Look at the top card of any deck. Limit once per round. This opens up a whole lot of crazy combos and deck building opportunity, and also that action. You can also look at the encounter deck because it says any deck. Encounter deck, any player deck, whatever.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, it's very, very exciting. Even the card pool we have now, it's exciting. And the card pool we have now is small compared to what we're going to have when we have, like, you're going to have 3 extra heroes plus everybody in the big box. So you really get five new decks worth of cards to build with. And now you get 2 aspects instead of 1. So everybody's playing checkers. She's playing chess. She's going to be good. She's going to be very good.
Yeah, I agree. Where did for me personally, my head goes to leadership aggression. For the 2 aspects to build her with, what are the aspects that, like, just thinking about it now, obviously premature because the box isn't out yet and we're still waiting on 3 more heroes. Well, most of us, Black Widow is available other places. What are you guys' aspects you're, like, thinking of now of building with her?
I'll let you go first, Steve, if you want, because I was thinking leadership aggression too, but...
I don't know. I'm going to have to play around. I haven't given this enough thought, but I think you're talking for a solo player and any of the adventures where the threat is an issue and you can get in some justice cards, but then throw in aggression or protection. I mean, I don't know, being able to thwart really well, but lay the hurt down is going to be exciting play, I think. I hope. I gotta go through and see, because you do have to have an equal number of cards. She already has 15 in her deck. So are we going to be seeing decks that breach that 40 more often? Because you're going to fight for those extra slots. Like, oh, I'm gonna make a 46 card deck because I want to include these 2 more of this scheme aspect. So I'm going to throw in 2 more of this aspect. I wonder if that'll that'll be a thing.
I wonder. So you got me thinking now, Steve. And I guess what I'll say first is to answer Banana's question. I was thinking maybe I like leadership and protection. I thought that those two always kind of sung together with med team and just actively healing all your allies. I always thought that was fun. She's not a character I think you're going to block with often, as far as protection goes. But maybe you can use things like energy barrier to just keep her alive longer, and med team. Like I said, but I'm interested to see if maybe her 15 card set is less powerful because she's going to have access to the best cards in 2 aspects as opposed to 1. Where I feel like typically your 15 card set, all the cards are slightly more powerful than your typical aspect cards. So maybe hers are going to scale back slightly, especially because we know that Michael Boggs said that 8 of her cards are aspect cards in her 15 card set.
Yeah. Now they're aspect cards that can only be played out of her set, though.
Correct. Yeah, but I mean, the one we see isn't. It doesn't knock my socks off. It's not a bad card, but it's not the best card I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I think.
It'll just be interesting.
What didn't he? Isn't it? It's not. It obviously can't be 8. The 8 cards, right? Is the same copy? 2 copies of the same card in each of the aspects.
Yeah. So like 2 leadership. It's the same 2 leadership card, or it's pheromones is the leadership card we have, and it's 2 of those, and then 2 of a protection card, 2 of a aggression card, 2 of a justice card are all included in her signature set.
Well, we know
so
the
then she'll
aggression
have
card.
No, the aggression card's not part of her set. That's one. That's just.
There was an image fan, and you can see the.
There was.
Card.
I did see that in the Discord, in the big Discord.
Yeah,
it's all the way. It's all the way at the bottom.
I see it now.
So we'll just read what we can off that fan because we're looking at it now. Venom Blast is 2 cost. We can see it's an attack superpower. You can see it's an attack. I guess it says hero action before that. It says deal 5 damage to, and then we can't see. So either an enemy or a villain or a minion or something. It's dealing 5 damage to something. And then
that answers our question.
Yeah, both a Spider-Woman and aggression card.
2 costs for 5 damage is good. So that's like signature card level power. So
now my hope is that Venom Blast is deal 5 damage to another player.
Coming from the villain centric podcast. Right. Hey, you're among friends, Steve.
She's a double agent.
Too sympathize. She is a double agent.
She's a double agent. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Not enough to worry about Hulk blasting me with the energy resource off the top deck. Now I gotta worry about a Venom Blast for 5 coming off the top.
Yeah.
Just what I need against Wrecking Crew.
We should rate her Spider-Woman side.
Go for it.
Spider-Woman, a unique hero, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 1 defense, Avenger and a spy, superhuman agility, interrupt. When you play an aspect card, Spider-Woman gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense until the end of the round. Limit once per round for each aspect. Hand size of 5. So you want those aspects. It's neat that it comes with them.
Good.
So you could get up to 5/5, and it lasts for the round. So you can attack for 2 or for 5 potentially, and then you still have 5 defense then for that round.
You combat training or attack for 6.
You got thwart for 5.
Attack for 6, right?
Yep, readier. I'm sure there's going to be ways
heroic
to
intuition, right? So you can thwart.
Include
for 6.
Leadership, play Earth's Mightiest Heroes, or whatever the check
she's an Avenger, so you can just use
Kate Bishop, Reddy's Spider-Woman.
All right, now that we've discovered this, I really think Earth's Mightiest Heroes better be a campaign only card. We just
that's scary.
Spider-Woman.
That's scary.
Now to get up to, you have to have
all the.
You have to have all 4 aspects in your hand and be able to pay for all of them at the same time.
Sure, that's the ceiling. But
That's the
you know
dream
you're
right
going to
there.
build the deck with cheap cards, and
Yeah.
you're going to build them. Your aspect cards are going to be events primarily, and you're going to make sure that you are thinning your deck with cards, probably like Honorary Avenger or whatever stuff you can just stick to her. You know what I mean? Stick on the table for cheap, so that you can continue to increase your hand size and your odds of just getting the cards you need to play out all of your hand every turn, so that you could play 2-3 different aspect cards around, and she's just going to be 4 attack, 5 attack. You know, if you have the combat training, I don't think it's hard to get to 4 or 5 attack.
Yeah, I think you can be able to easily play 2 aspect cards a turn, 2 different aspect cards. It's those
Yeah.
it's those 2 off aspects that you're only getting from her signature cards.
Those are the cards where it's like, a lot of times I like to play out my hand, but for Spider Woman you probably alter that a little bit, and if you draw both of your off aspect cards in one hand, that'd be more inclined to squeeze one of them, just for the bonus that she gets from it.
Yep.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, I think just the possibilities and the doors she opens are very exciting for the game.
Yes.
I'm glad it's not like it's thematic for her being a double agent. She can have the 2 aspects. I hope we don't see this too often, though.
I don't think we'll see it a ton, but I mean, at least now, Steve, you guys at Critical Encounters have a hero that you can play, and you can justify beating a villain by saying, you know, oh, I'm just selling it to the heroes, or
That's right.
you know, I'm actually working for this other villain, and you kind of were messing up our plans. Like, you can feel good about playing this hero in quotes.
Yeah, air quotes there, hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Guess we'll read off Pheromones. It's a 2-cost event. Superpower, hero action, stun and confuse an enemy. This card is both a Spider-Woman card and a leadership card, and it generates a physical resource.
Stun
it's-
and confuse. That's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
Those
Yeah.
are both very powerful effects.
It's definitely good. It's just not something, like I said, that knocks my socks off. But it's definitely a good card. And it's an event, which we talked about. For her aspect cards is probably what you want, because you want it to get played and then go back in the deck, so that you can trigger her interrupt again. But
It might be the cheapest way out there, though, to like stun or confuse, right? I mean,
yeah.
How cheap is it for Doctor Strange to do that?
Crimson Band of Sidarok is 2, and it doesn't come from your hand. So Doctor Strange OP, love that man.
Okay, he's not out yet, though.
Yeah, no, he's not.
He will be though when this comes out.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I really like the stun and the end confuse.
I think it's really great in a multiplayer game, especially because you're going to get immediate payoff, like in that round, where like it's I can make it so that you can comfortably flip, or I can comfortably flip to alter ego, and we don't have to worry as much, because you're going to get the stun and confuse. So it's like, okay, well, we don't have blockers, and you need the heal. No problem. I'll play Pheromones, and everything's good. So you can go to alter ego. I don't need to worry about taking a bunch of attacks in the face. And if I do, Pheromones is going to pump my defense anyway. Play it for the entire round, so at least I can block for 2 now, if I have to. So it's definitely a good card. It's definitely a versatile card, and I think that they said that she had a lot of effects that played into stun and confuse. Didn't they say that on stream?
Oh, I might have
I
missed
don't
that.
remember.
I think they said that.
Right with Hawkeye, I mean, he can shoot an arrow after you've confused her and do 5 damage now. So, right, Sonic Arrow.
Yeah,
Yep,
So we got some team play going on.
yeah.
that's the play.
And the next
Yeah.
card plays into it a little bit too, even though it's not part of her kit.
Why don't you read it off, man? Don't just leave all our listeners hanging like that. Both of them.
Sorry, Mom. 1-cost event, press the advantage. It is an attack trait, hero action attack. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. If that enemy is stunned or confused, draw 1 card, and it provides a mental resource. So tailor-made for what she's doing with that rebate of 1 card draw. It's really good. It's pretty good. It's a cheap event. And it's specifically for her, I like that they've included cards like this for her pre-constructed deck because it's a 1-cost event that plays into her stunned, confused stuff. And it plays into the fact that every time you can play these cheap aspect cards, she's going to get a stat increase. So it's good, and you're going to draw another card to be able to play more or to dig for another aspect card to play. So there's just a lot of synergy going on. I actually really like the artwork on it too. I think it's cool.
What's he punching?
I think that's like Manape or one of their maybe one of their beasts. I don't know.
Well, his quote says, "You are in Wakanda now," so whatever these things are.
Oh yeah, they're not from Wakanda.
Yeah. I don't know what those are. Oh well.
No idea.
Anything that draws a card, I'm a fan of. So, Prissy
Yep.
Advantage gets a thumbs up in my book.
1 cost, 2 damage. It's good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So you guys want to move into the villains?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
Alright, let's
You know,
jump-
I'm all right. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go back to.
All right.
I'll see
You
you guys
gotta go to
later.
work tomorrow. So we'll jump right into Crossbones, right? So we see his first stage. He's a Hydra mercenary, 1 scheme, 1 attack, with a little boost star next to it. And that says, while Crossbones has a weapon attachment, his attacks gain piercing, which is another new keyword. And piercing discards any tough status cards from the target before dealing damage. And it looks like his encounter deck has 19 total cards, and he has 12 hit points per player.
Yeah, it's pretty weak.
Yeah, I felt like the theme throughout the all the villains we saw, they all had pretty low health totals. I mean, they're all stage 1, except for I think there's that stage 2 Zola you see a glimpse of, but you can't see his health total. But yeah, they're all kind of weak as far as health pool goes. So I'm hoping that they do some pretty aggressive things. Which I mean, a lot of them are villains that would be more aggressive and more focused on doing you damage than them themselves surviving. So I'm okay with that thematically, but I want them to be difficult.
So I realize it's stage 1, but like, okay, first he's a 1/1. Bleh.
Yep.
That's worse than a Rhino.
Yep.
But weapon attachment, so he's got to go through his deck to get one, put it out. And then it gains piercing. How many cards do the players have that provide them with a tough status?
Doctor Strange, dude. It's all going back to Doctor Strange.
Okay, Doctor Strange.
Invulnerability.
Invulnerability 1. And did everybody say, oh, invulnerability, I'm putting it into my deck. It's an auto include.
Did that get
no.
reprinted at 1 cost or something? Or?
Right. So his ability is a non-bow. It doesn't matter. Like, too bad he has a bow in his hand, too. It's like, who cares?
Hey, man,
Unless in the campaign, maybe in the campaign there's tough status tokens out on things. But
So there's got to be something for that stat line, that health total. His first scheme has to have like a discard from the top of the deck until you reveal a weapon attachment or something.
All right, he starts with 1. Yep,
He's got to start with something. But right, he's just not. Otherwise, he just doesn't do anything. Because you'll be able to. You could flip him round 1.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be shocked. So he's going to get a weapon. I'm confident he'll get a weapon. If he doesn't, there's mistakes were made.
Yeah. So we do see his weapon. I'm going to read it. Crossbones machine gun. It's a unique attachment with the weapon trait attached to Crossbones. Uses 2 ammo counters per player. It gives him a +0 attack, so it's really ramping him up. Like exponential change. Okay, and then with a little star, forced interrupt. When Crossbones attacks you, remove 1 ammo counter from this card and discard the top card of the encounter deck. take indirect damage equal to the number of boost icons on the discarded card. And then it itself has 3 boost icons. So, alright, it's going to give him piercing. It's not ramping up his attacks any, but it will add damage once he starts shooting his machine guns off. So I like the machine gun attachment in general. It's kind of neat.
It's good. It gets around, like, so it doesn't add directly to his attack because it's going to deal that indirect. So, like, if you use an ally to throw crossbones, I'm not sure if you would with him being a 1 attack, but if you did, then that indirect kind of circumvents that ally to a degree, because, like, that ally can't soak it all.
Right.
He's probably close to dead or already dead. And also the 3 boost icons that it has. Maybe his deck is just loaded with 2 and 3 boost icons.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And now, if he runs out of ammo counters, do we
It would
discard
Maybe there's
it?
a reload?
It would get discarded.
Okay.
There's precedent for that when cards that come into play with counters on them, when they don't have any more counters, they get discarded.
Yeah, like
That's just a rule book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a rule thing.
Right,
yeah.
right. Okay.
Like web shooters and stuff.
Yeah, but even if it's running out of that, like, there might be other ways that he puts ammo back on it too.
Just got to reload.
Yeah, maybe there's a treachery card called reload.
Reload, yeah.
I mean, he's got a bunch of mag pouches on him, but he's got to have a magazine in there to reload them things.
Something somewhere.
Yeah. Don't want
I
to
like
be
the-
his gastrointestinal doctor.
It looks good. The art looks
He's
nice. I
thinking
like the black.
Yeah, I like the card format and the coloring of it.
Yeah,
I
looks
agree.
cool.
Why couldn't they do that for Winter Soldier? Next, we have Absorbing Man. Tom, you want to read off Absorbing Man?
Sure. Absorbing Man is his stage 1 villain. He has 1 scheme, 2 attack. He has the trait of Brute, and Absorbing Man gains the trait of each environment in play. He comes into play with 14 health, and there's 25 cards in his deck. So he's a beefier boy, which makes sense thematically. And adding those traits to this point, I mean, in the preview, we don't know what they do, but we will find out shortly if we want to just... I mean, you don't really know, you don't get a good picture of what he can do until we start seeing more cards.
Yep. So just keep reading through them, then we can talk
Sure.
about it.
We got Snowy Hillside, which is an environment card. It's interesting that now we're getting environments that appear to be slotted in decks. It has the trait Ice, Surge. Forced response after Absorbing Man makes an undefended attack against you. Place 1 threat on the main scheme, 2 threat instead if there are 5 or more delay counters on the main scheme. It has no boost icons with the exception of the 1 star, and the star reads boost to put this card into play. So this card is coming into play whether you like it or not. The only way it's not is if it gets discarded from the encounter deck somehow. So it's a pretty gnarly card just because it's getting Surge and it's adding a trait and it's adding an effect and it's coming into play even if it's drawn as a boost. And then the last and third card from our preview for Absorbing Man is the Omnimorph Duplication, which is a treachery card. It reads, when revealed, if Absorbing Man had... And then it goes on to say, Ice trait, exhaust your identity. Metal trait, give Absorbing Man a tough status card and heal 1 damage from him. Stone trait, give Absorbing Man 1 face down boost card. And the Wood trait, discard 1 card at random from your hand. I could have went dirty there, but I didn't. It's got 1 boost icon.
We're all disappointed, and all of our mothers are very proud.
Yep, I took the high road, Mom.
Does Thunderball know that Absorbing Man stole his whole shtick there?
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
Thunderball's ball, right? He's just whipping it around there.
It looks like it.
Right into the wood. All right, that's enough. So he's gonna have 4 environments.
So it looks like the environments are going to hit the table. I mean, you're going to reveal them. They're going to come into play, or they're going to be come into play. So you're going to get
no
them.
way to get rid of them. There's no way to get rid of them.
Yep, you got nothing that's targeting environments. There's no when revealed effect to cancel. There's really not a whole lot you can do about the environments. I guess you could. Can the Black Widow ally get around them? She discards it and you draw another card, maybe, or is she restricted to treachery cards? I can't remember. Well, regardless, it's hard.
Remember.
It's hard to get around.
Either.
So it's not going to be uncommon that he's going to have 2-3 of these environments on the table, and I know if you trigger two effects off Omnimorph duplication, that's rough. Any 2 of those that's like revealing 2 encounter cards. So it's definitely difficult unless they've got a built-in way for us to remove environments like within that encounter. It could get sketchy quick if there's other cards like Omnimorph duplication.
Yeah,
he's a dick. Just looking at that Omnimorph duplication card, it's like, geez, this guy.
Yeah, this is brutal. That's a rough card.
Yeah, finally something good.
Yeah, I know. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Yeah, I wonder how many of these Omnimorphs will be in there too. So.
Yeah, if I told you 4, would that give you the wood trait?
No.
I had to go there. I couldn't help it.
This could whiff though, right?
Oh, it absolutely. You could get this like round 1. You know, if there's
no
no setup.
Out.
Yeah,
Yep.
if there's nothing, no like discard from the top to your. I mean, you can't do that on every scenario, right? But there might be something that says pull X scenario, like maybe the setting is in a forest or something. So, I don't know. They could build it in somehow.
Yeah,
but yeah. If there's a bunch of Omnimorph duplication, you want to see it as not as a or your encounter.
Yeah. He looks cool. That'll be fun to try to manage the environments and deal with all the treacheries. You can't let him build up too fast. It could be a real race.
Yeah, he might be from the cards we've seen. He's my early favorite, like looking scenario. I think he looks interesting and difficult.
Yeah, I agree with that so far.
Yeah.
Because we can jump into Zola now. He was the other villain we saw on stream, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So, Steve, you want to read off Zola?
Sure. Zola, villain, 2 scheme, 1 attack, android, and Hydra. He has Retaliate 1. There's 31 cards in his set, and he has 12 hit points per player.
Yeah, just weak again with the 12, man. I mean, I know they're stage 1.
That's a lot of cards.
That is a ton of cards. That's like mutagen formula level cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a ton of little minions. Hopefully a lot of surge cards so that you can get through those. So,
We just want to read off his minion we got right away, too. I'm letting you
Sure.
read these off, because you're the critical
Yeah.
expert on villains.
oh, great. All right, Zola's Mutate. It's a minion with a 1 scheme, 2 attack, 5 health, Hydra, and Mutate. When revealed, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a tech attachment is discarded. Attach that card to Zola's Mutate, and then it has a star for its boost icon with the boost effect. Shuffle Zola's Mutate into the encounter deck.
I just want to say I can't believe they used the same art for Winter Soldier and Zola's Mutate.
Actually, I thought Zola's Mutate was better art.
It actually is. But I gotta know, how long did you plan that?
Since I saw it.
Yeah, I knew you had that calculated so long. Oh, that's great.
So he's going to come out, every time one of these guys comes out, he's going to be different than the one previously, right? Because you're going to discard to get a tech attachment, and you're going to put it on him, and it's going to be a different tech attachment, maybe then a different one, because there could be like 4 or 5 different tech attachments. So they're all going to have these different abilities. And 5 health, that's not... insignificant for a minion to have.
No, 5 health is an annoying number. I mean,
Yeah.
These are going to be a pain in the ass.
yeah,
Now,
and
yeah.
they're going to be building Zola up when they hit the table. Not only do you have to deal with them, they got the 2 attack, which is annoying because it's again a significant number that isn't jiving with, like, you can swallow the 1 for a little bit and be like, I will deal with that later. But like 2 is something that you want to address sooner rather than later. But 5 health makes it so that it's not easily doable, and Zola's building up and building his own Iron Man suit or tinkering or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, and one of these one of these tech things could increase the attack, or give this guy tough, or give him some other ability. So they could be a little bit more significant than just the 2 and the 5.
Yeah, they're gonna be problematic. I'm just hoping there's something that gives, like, I don't know. Hopefully some of these have guard. Like there's some guard minions or something that can protect
Guard.
Zola.
Yep, tech attachments. That would give them guard, give them this. Yep, that's cool. And then if you boost this thing, it's going back in, so you're never really... I mean, it's a 0, so that's great when you're defending against it, but it's going to go back in there, so eventually it's going to come up.
Yep, the designers really want these guys to hit the table. They want them in play.
Yep.
At some level. I mean, if they really wanted them in play, the boost would just say, put this minion in the play. But they definitely want to keep them in the deck at the least. So, and retaliate is really annoying on Zola when allies attack. So, I mean,
yeah, yep.
It could be challenging. It could be pretty challenging. Obviously, we're going on very limited knowledge here. But yeah, this one looks interesting too. I'm excited. And I like the purple and orange kind of... It's a very comic booky looking color scheme here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think it looks good for the most part. So that was it for the villains we saw in the box, but then we had a couple revealed in that Czech publishing article thing. So I guess the first one is Taskmaster. It says Paduch. One Claw 2 Uto. Hydra Zoldak. I'm not going to keep that up. The translation reads somewhat, he forces players to discard the top card from their encounter deck and deal damage equal to the boost icons after you flip for the round.
I think only to hero form, potentially.
Yeah, it says hero form, but I wasn't sure that was 100% accurate.
Yeah, we don't know.
But still, you're going to take damage when you flip. That's annoying. And he has
13
13 health.
Thematic, though.
And his encounter deck is 23 cards. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Seems annoying.
Yeah, I don't know what the triggering that's interrupt reaction. I don't know what the...
Maybe it's forced interrupt or something?
Forced reaction.
Forced reaction. Yeah.
Well, it'd have to be an interrupt, right? Because... Oh, forced reaction. Yeah, okay.
It's like after you flip to hero, you gotta discard the top card of the encounter deck, and then you take damage for the boost icons on it.
Yeah. So that immediately devalues heroes like Ms. Marvel or any hero that wants to constantly be changing forms.
It makes She-Hulk even worse.
It does make She-Hulk worse, yes. Yeah, She-Hulk has signature cards that flip her, so...
Well, they get you to your Gamma Slam maximum output quicker.
There you go. Always the optimist.
That's right.
Yeah, so, like, the 13 health is, again, to me, stage 1, but suspect for, like, wow, he's not that durable. But with an ability like this, he could push you pretty hard. Everybody's taking damage round 1 because we're all starting as alter ego. So everybody's flipping round 1. So right from the get-go, he's going to level the playing field. Even though he doesn't have an insane amount of health, he's hitting everybody, just off the bat.
Yep.
With that ability. So he can definitely do damage. The 2 attack on the stage 1 is also, that's a good number for a stage 1 villain. So We'll see. That's really all we know about him, other than the fact that he probably has a prisoner, thanks to the recon done by our critical guest.
Yeah, the other thing about him is, right, he's the signature villain for Black Widow.
That's right.
Yeah, he's the nemesis.
Yeah, so they talked about how that functions if you have Black Widow and you draw Shadows of the Past. You basically just don't put out Taskmaster, and you do everything else on the card, though.
Yeah, and then it surges, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, they said it would
Yeah,
surge.
Yeah, because the last line is like, if Taskmaster did not enter play this way, card gains surge.
So does he even go into the encounter deck discard pile, or does he just not enter play? Period.
I don't think you would enter play, period.
I don't think it would enter play at all.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted it, but I just was curious because I mean, Taskmaster, the Nemesis minion, Taskmaster is a card that I don't want in the deck. Period, because that thing could be a boost for 12 on any given turn. So I don't want that thing anywhere near the board anyway.
Yeah. You're still going to get his side schemes and all his little treacheries and stuff.
Yep. And Surge, which is it's still like Shadows of the Past is still not a good thing to have happen at any time.
And then you give it surge.
Yeah. So that's interesting. That's definitely an interesting caveat, and it gives hope to other Nemesis minions that would be worthy of their own encounter, such as Loki or Baron Mordo or Baron Zemo. Those are all like relevant villains that I would love to see as a true villain encounter.
The one thing I just thought of here with Taskmaster's ability, when you get your obligation, it seems, at least in my experience, I draw my obligation, I almost always flip and exhaust and just remove it from the game. And then I got to come back into Taskmaster and take some damage.
Yep. It's definitely going to add a wrinkle for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
all
a
the
little bit
decisions
more
you
of a
make.
choice. Yeah.
Well
I like
designed
that.
villain.
Agreed.
Well-designed
I'm
villain.
definitely liking it, and I love the artwork. I know that's terrible to say on a podcast, but I still love the artwork.
Yeah, if you guys could see what we're seeing right now, this is some good artwork right here. And Tommy just got Omnimorph duplicated the wood trait after that.
Oh, you hear that?
All right, so this is the last villain we have, right, from the Czech release. Steve, will you do the honors?
I will.
Red Skull. 2 threat, 0 attack, high jaw. Red Skull gets +1 attack per side scheme in play. 28 cards in his deck and 12 health per player.
I can't even.
I had to save it for him.
It's great.
So he's our ultimate villain in the pack, though, right?
He is the namesake of the box.
Yeah. He only has 12 health per player.
12 health. That has me a little scared. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so 2 scheme. That's fine for a level 1 villain.
Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah, 0 attack. But okay, he gets +1 attack for each side scheme in play. But there could conceivably be no side schemes in play, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that his thing says put the immortal Red Skull in the play, and it gives him +10 health. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I do not hope that that's what happens.
I've seen some of these other cards, some other games that Caleb's done, and I anticipate that Red Skull deck will have like 10 side schemes in it, or some ridiculous quantity of side schemes. There won't even be a main scheme; it'll just be all side schemes, and you're, so he just keeps getting harder and harder and bigger and bigger. They might all be like minor side schemes, but you could overload his deck with side schemes to really push him up.
Yeah,
and
I hope they all have Surge.
Yeah, put out a side scheme Surge. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and think about the game where you draw. He gets 4 or 5 side schemes down, and then you hit a master plan with that beautiful Red Skull art, and then
that's right.
they all get a whole bunch more threat. So they're not going anywhere. I think that he has the potential to be very, very good, stat wise. So we'll see.
Will we
Maybe
see?
he's gonna have a bunch of guard minions. I don't know. Like the 12 health does have me a little worried though. I'd be lying if I said it didn't.
I wonder if we get the Tesseract.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Some cosmic cube action.
Yeah,
That'd be a really neat like campaign mechanic.
He has it in Crisis Protocol, so
the whole thing is going after that. I mean, Master Plan, he's holding on to the Tesseract, right? So
yeah, maybe. Oh, man, that would be great. That's like one of his most iconic storylines. So I would imagine that was at least talked about when they were creating this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for that now because that could be an upgrade. That who knows what that could do,
right.
Or an attachment, I guess, for a villain.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, the campaign support. There's a lot of options with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's hope, and yeah, man, I hope you're right.
Yeah, it better be in the game.
It's another big deck. 28 is big.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, and then you're going to slot in probably some modular set. They said all 3 modular sets were Hydra themed, which is going to make for some interesting gameplay otherwise too. If you want to play with like Legions of Hydra and stuff like that, where it plays off of Hydra cards.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or you could take Legions of Hydra and slot it into one of these decks because there's Red Skull's minions are all Hydra minions.
Yeah, and it would add the guard for you. You'd add some guard.
You've got Madam Hydra in there, all that kind of stuff. Could be pretty fun. So,
hey, so I'm just checking some of these health totals here. Claw starts at 12 health on stage 1.
Claw has the Immortal Claw side scheme, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not stage 1, though, right?
No, but I mean, I think stage 2 starts with it, right?
Yeah, stage 2 starts with it.
Yeah, so he kind of like has, you can thwart it away, but it is like some pseudo health that he has.
He goes from 12 to 18 and then to 22.
Oh, there's a big jump there. Okay.
Ultron goes from 17 to 22 to 27. And then Rhino goes 14, 15, 16.
All right, so health doesn't necessarily equate to difficult because Rhino obviously is not difficult, but
unless you're playing on him in heroic too.
Yeah.
But Norman Osborn has 14 health per player.
Yeah.
And he's not all that hard.
It's true.
He goes 14, 18, 22. And I think Mutagen's 16, 18, 22? I didn't get to that one yet. Yeah, 16, 18, 20 for Mutagen Goblin.
That's interesting because like Ultron jumps much higher than Green Goblin, so like Green Goblin's just jumping in increments of 2, and Ultron like spikes up by like 6. So
yeah, and Claw jumps really, really high.
Yeah, you could see something like that for these as well. So we don't know. We really have no idea at this point. We're going off one card.
It's all speculation, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
We got it all figured out.
Which we find on the Critical Accounts is the best way to make judgments with no real information.
Of course. We're just going to make, grandiose statements.
That's how I live my entire life. Well, I guess that'll do it for the Rise of the Red Skull preview for us here on the podcast. Do you guys have any overall, general, or final thoughts on what we've seen from the box so far?
I'll say that I am thrilled with the theme of the box. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think it's the most logical choice for your first big box, for your first campaign. It's a grounded set of villains that you can build off of, that is a staple for Marvel as far as an organization goes, like Michael Boggs said, and it looks fun, it looks big, it's iconic. It also is the arch nemesis. I don't care if it's Zemo pack or not, but Red Skull is Cap's number one foil. So it's the strongest hero currently versus the new villain. So let's see what happens. I think it's good all around decision wise that they've made.
Yeah, I agree. When we had that silhouette with the blank of blank, everybody was like, the Age of Apocalypse or the Rise of Thanos or whatever it was. It's like, no, they got to come back down. And I thought it was going to be the Rise of Hydra. So pretty close.
Yeah, I would give you full credit for that.
Yeah,
98.
And my thought was, man, there's all these standard cards that have a picture of Red Skull on them, and we don't have Red Skull. So I agree too. It's like I like a more grounded villain, right? It's not a cosmic. We haven't traveled off of Earth.
We'll get there. We'll get there
right.
one day.
Right. I mean, we've seen Crossbones in one of the movies. We got Absorbing Man in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Taskmaster is going to be in the new Black Widow movie. We've seen Zola and Red Skull already in the Captain America movie. So they're hitting all the MCU stuff early, and they're building. So I like it. I'm excited to see how the campaign works. And I'm excited. They also mentioned that it's a little less, I think they mentioned the campaign is a little less fiddly or than Arkham Horror stuff. Like, it's not as intense of a campaign log, which I also think will be good. We want the connected stuff, but I don't need a 3-page spreadsheet to know what happened in the last mission. Not for this game. It works great in Arkham, but not for this game. I want to know that, yeah, I won or I lost or I did this, and okay, I got these 3 cards I get to add to my deck, and moving on, and let's get to the action. So that should be pretty exciting too.
Are we going to talk about the silhouette?
Yeah, sure. We can hit the silhouette question. Where is that? Okay. Is that in our Discord?
I'm gonna find that.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the end of the article, or after the stream, FG put out the article like they do, and it had the silhouettes kind of like they had like Bruce Banner and Black Widow and Doctor Strange on it. Well, this one's got 5 silhouettes. So scenario pack arriving August, and then there's 4 hero packs, each with a different silhouette. And everybody's speculating at who these all are, right? So everybody want to give their thoughts on who they think these peeps are?
The scenario pack, it's one of 2 characters. It's either Zemo or Kang. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's Zemo.
There's a great picture of Kang, though, standing like that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I know I'm going back and forth, but the Zemo thing feels like, well, he's so Hydra that I don't know how he wouldn't be in a box. It's a Hydra box, unless they just were like, oh, we got to bump one to a scenario pack, which is fine. But Kang feels like a villain that is worthy of something of like a larger scale, like a box type villain to me. I don't know. But he also feels like he's definitely an Avengers villain. So is like Fantastic Four villain. So I felt like if it's Kang, then it's going to have to come with some Fantastic Four heroes at some point, or could kick off that next, phase that they keep speaking of. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say it's gonna kick off Fantastic Four.
So then you're thinking the next 4 heroes are all Fantastic Four?
I'm not sold they're all Fantastic Four, but I definitely think that at least a couple of them.
A couple of them could be.
I think your first one is Johnny Storm sitting on a couch with a remote, and probably a beer or a can of soda in his hand.
And does that mean December is the Invisible Woman there?
December, I would guess, would be Sue Storm. I'm thinking possibly October could be Reed Richards working on something in a lab there on the PC. The only one that I can't, the other hero pack for November just looks like Quicksilver to me as far as silhouettes go, even though that's out of place. Yeah. But I don't know if you could pitch a Ben Grimm there. I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
What this shows me, this whole restricted black level clearance little screen shows me, is the FFG just continues to hate the villains. So we get 1 out of 5.
I know. Well, you got 5 in that box though.
Okay, all right. So this is what, only our 3rd villain scenario pack though.
Yeah.
Goblin, Wrecking Crew, and whoever this guy is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Goblin came with 2 separate encounters. So, and then Wrecking Crew kind of broke the mold with the 4 villains at the same time. So this could come with 2 separate encounters, whatever this pack is, which I'm hoping is the case, because I'd rather just keep building a storehouse of encounters personally.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it has to have at least 2 in it. Just based on the number of cards that would be in it, unless it's some, I don't know. It wouldn't make sense to have.
Well, if it's
just
10,
30 cards in it,
have an encounter deck and then like a time deck, so you'll have like some weird.
Pull all these cards out, put them over here, pick up this other one you set aside, shuffle them back in. Going in and out of
authority.
time.
Yeah. So I was trying to think if with my Fantastic Four theory, if we went September, October, and December as 3 of the Fantastic Four, and let's say November's not Ben Grimm, I couldn't think of a character that was connected that could be. So I don't know if you guys can think of anybody that would fit that that mold, a Fantastic Four connected character that could be there. Like, is it adult like Franklin Richards? I can't see that.
I don't think
Silver Surfer. It's not, unless that's Norrin Rad. Which I think that is.
And I can't imagine that, even if, that hero pack in November can't really be Ben Grimm, right? Because he doesn't get to flip back to alter ego mode.
No, I'd imagine his alter ego is just going to be Thing in a coat with a hat and some glasses.
Right.
So I think that, but I don't think they put that on something like this. That would seem kind of obvious. That silhouette is kind of unmistakable. So the other thing is that they may be staying, like mixing things in, like maybe the bottom 2, the November and December, maybe that's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and then the first hero pack, I don't know who it would be, but the October pack could be like Jessica Jones, and you could do like a Defenders thing because we already have them as allies. Maybe we start adding them as heroes.
So you're thinking September is Matt Murdock? No, watching TV.
Watching TV, yeah,
watching TV
with his sonar.
I understood that reference.
I don't know. I could see a Jessica Jones though as that October silhouette. I can't tell if that's a male or female silhouette. I think that's intentional.
Yeah, I have no idea really. I think the villain's Zemo, but the other ones I don't know.
Yeah, when this first came up, I thought September was like some sort of yoga pose until
I did it initially.
Banana pointed out that's a beer in one hand and a remote in the other. It's like, now I see that.
It could be Deadpool, right?
That could be.
Do you think the first
you're giving
X-Men
all the
character
Yeah.
they pull out as Deadpool?
It's Morph, dude. It's Morph. We already established that.
Yeah, dude, if it was Morph, I'd be so happy.
There's no way I guarantee Morph is not the first X-Men character.
That'd be the coolest thing Morph ever did. Was be the first X-Men released.
Now the fact that it's got a Hydra symbol behind them all, does that clue us into anything?
That's a good point. That could score points in the Zemo category. I'm firmly it's one of those two. I really think it's one of those two.
I think the Hydra logo is just because it was at the end of the Red Skull box article.
Yeah, okay, that could be it too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board with August thinking it's Kang or Zemo, and the rest of them I don't know. Although it does November does look a lot like Quicksilver with his little hair things.
This is great radio, talking about stuff people can't see.
Everybody who's listening,
us,
if anybody's listening to this, the exception,
they've seen it.
They've seen
done it. Yeah. I think this is a great piece of promo from their marketing department. This is smart, right?
I agreed. I mean, it was brilliant.
Yeah. I'm going to spoil something, but you're not going to know anything what it is, and then when it comes up, nobody's on board with it. Nobody knew what it was. So
I feel like people did really good with the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a while, but yeah, it's good.
But I like that. I mean, just because you know or have a really good idea of what something is doesn't mean you really know what it is or what cards are in there, like how it's going to play. It just because just even once you get to the point where you identify what it is, or if a theme starts to get revealed, it only builds hype and speculation for the next one. So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, my hope is too that they're able to put these out these months that they're saying, and we're not losing a month. I mean, we're losing a month now with Black Widow and stuff, but there's not a break in here for the big box either. It's not like August is blank because that's when Red Skull's coming out.
Yeah.
So we could conceivably get a scenario pack and the Red Skull box in the same month, right?
Yeah. I think
it works.
I think what they would do is something like what they did with the core and the and then the first wave of packs after that, where maybe they would bunch 2 to 3 packs on like a one release day kind of thing, if they had everything. Because I think what they were saying is, or somebody speculated, the conversation went to they've had stuff was printed as a cycle, so they kind of had like a lot of the packs already. Once they started getting them, so they would release like 2 or 3 heroes or an encounter and 2 heroes to in that first wave to kind of launch the second phase of things. If there were delays that backed us up and we kept getting Widows back, or maybe they release Widow and Strange and Hulk all in one shot right before the big box. I don't know. Who knows how long this whole social isolation, distancing, everything shut down crap is going to last.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll move into some questions and we'll wrap this thing up. Almost at 2 hours here on this one.
Holy crap!
Yeah. And like we cut out topics for tonight too. So we have a couple questions on Facebook. I'll hit those first. Todd wants to know: do you believe that it's possible to beat Expert Clone Heroic 3? Not with the cards currently available to us, is my answer to that one. You guys?
I think it's doable. I think you got to be extremely fortunate with how the cards come out. Because I mean, he's got the same amount of health, so if you can burst him down, I think it's doable. But you can't see that many cards. You can't have that many rounds of the game.
And what encounter set you're playing? Like added
Doomsday Chair.
Module?
I think
Doomsday Chair. Oh,
I
like
think he's
the
talking
challenge?
about the challenge. Yeah, because
Challenge.
when I did it, I had
Good
no
luck.
hope. I had no
Yeah,
hope.
it's a very long shot.
When I did it, I had 6 schemes in play. Claw was at 46 health, and I was nowhere close to doing anything.
Yeah.
Zemo had the biomechanical suit on him. MODOK was laughing at Thor. Captain America couldn't thwart because Zemo was in play, and I couldn't kill him because he just would come back. It was a nightmare.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, we got to wait for Doctor Strange. We got to wait for
great.
Doctor Strange.
It was great. Yeah, Doctor Strange can probably do it, and he can probably have his hand size reduced by 1. Tommy's buddy Brian Allen wants to know what duo of characters and which aspects to go with them do you think make the best team of 2?
With the current card pool, the best team of 2. I think it depends on what you like playing. Like I said that as far as leadership goes, I like Captain Marvel, but I also like Spider-Man for leadership. but I know back when we were just playing the core, Scott and I found that Spider-Man leadership and Black Panther protection worked really, really well together to help keep everything alive with the protection and the blockers. You really didn't have to worry about damage, and you were able to thwart effectively with allies and stay in hero mode longer. So we found those to be really nice. But right now, I would have to say, if I was putting two decks together, I would definitely want to run leadership, and I would definitely want to run aggression. I feel like those are the two strongest aspects. And then I would just try to find heroes that fit them well and supported them well. I also like the new combo of putting down Wonder Man, putting an Enraged on him, putting an Inspired on him, and just playing as many teamworks in a game as you can. It's just zero cost event for +6 attack.
Yep.
It makes Mean Swing look silly, but it takes a lot more setup.
Yeah, I think I'm right there. Leadership, aggression. I think you pick one of the captains, and then I think you can make Black Panther the aggression character.
Black Panther aggression is like really, really strong. I also think that you could play both captains. You could do Captain Marvel leadership and Captain America. I think they both fit those aspects well.
Yep.
Yeah, I always liked leadership with Black Panther.
Yep, I like that too.
Because he has those vibraniums, so you have that extra resource to get those guys out, the more expensive allies out quicker. And I'm always I don't know why, but I love Iron Man Justice too.
Oh,
like the two of them, Black Panther.
You're not allowed to say that.
It's like the most hero you could get, and you just went there as a villain guy.
I know, right? It's terrible. So, but I mean, if you're just looking for power, I think you can't go wrong with Black Panther leadership and Iron Man Justice. So, or Captain Marvel Justice. I'm not big on aggression.
Man, even with the new Thor stuff, it's so good.
Yeah. When we play 4 players, somebody's got to be playing that aggression. But I prefer to stabilize and then play the long game. So.
And then I Rebel podcast asked this question about Spider Woman, but I think we kind of talked about that already earlier. So just letting you know, I saw your question. Then on Discord, we got some questions. What story box should come next, and why is it the Victory of Doom?
I don't know, but I love that. I hope it is Dr. Doom. That's awesome.
If it's Dr. Doom, that's all I ever wanted in life right there.
Yeah, and I might be in the minority, but I love the Fantastic.
I mean, Doom is our logo, so.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, because you got a good set. Now, can you come up with 5 associated villains for Doom? Like the Red Skull box has, where Doom is the capstone of it?
You just have them all be Doom bots.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, Namor, because Submariner teams up with him at certain points.
Kang could be in a Doom box.
Kang could. You could put in Titania. I think she's worked with him. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but She-Hulk's nemesis.
Yeah.
I
always call her Titania, because it sounds
Titania.
like made of titanium. That's what I say.
That's probably more accurate.
Whether it's right or not, that's what I say.
See, I actually, if it's Doom, I'd be happy, but I wouldn't be shocked if they went Galactus too. Because then you can have, like, your heroes. One of them could be Silver Surfer, and then you could open up some cosmic stuff.
Yeah, I would guess they stay grounded still. Like,
I agree, but I think Doom would be grounded. I think that would work.
Yep, I think Doom would be grounded, or you can go like Magneto, right? And then you just all the X-Men people, everybody that loves the X-Men. There you go.
Yeah, people are jonesing for X-Men. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
they're jonesing for X-Men in all the Marvel games. Crisis Protocol, it's all you see about too. is X-Men.
Well, since there's no more core set, we get a big box, and then 6 months later, so we get another big box, and then 6 months later, we get another big box. They just keep doing that. Is that something they could do?
I hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah. More than once a year would be amazing.
that would be amazing. Yeah. Just twice a year would be so perfect.
Have you tried playing over Skype during isolation?
I played one game over Skype a little while ago. I don't know if it was during isolation, but a while. But it worked just fine. It wasn't Skype. We used Zoom, but it worked just fine.
Everybody's using Zoom for everything now.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have it for work purposes. So
My kid wanted to let me know. Right, he's 4. He wanted help wiping his ass, and he did it over Zoom to let me know. So,
Dad, front to back or what? What's going on here?
nah, he's getting it now. He's getting it himself now. So, D House Blast from the Past wants to know the best deck to teach your non-gamer wives how to play during quarantine.
All right. I would go Aspect of Aggression just because they're going to feel like they're doing good things, and it's going to be the most straightforward. Like, play this, deal damage. I think that's going to be the most generic, easy, but has results associated with it. And as far as the hero goes, I would try to let them pick the hero for the most part that they would identify with or like, because I think that makes you more invested in what's going on. But I would also try to like steer them away from some of the harder heroes to play, like maybe not playing Iron Man because of all the build up, or Black Panther, or maybe not even She-Hulk.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too. And it's an opportunity to try a rookie mode.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
The one of the only opportunities to play rookie mode.
You're playing with your non-gamer wife or your child under the age of 10.
Is 2 too young to start?
If
Depends.
if they can't hold the cards without crinkling them, it's too young.
Yeah, well, I'll print out some proxies.
There you go. Then you're good.
Yep, we're good to go.
Yeah, I think I agree. Aggression. I think leadership you can get away with it too because it's just you play and use allies or play cards that interact with your allies.
Yep.
So I think
You could probably swing that.
I think either
Yeah, and then
of
you
those-
play the complementing aspect to cover.
Yeah, I just worry with leadership that there's just too many things on the table that are like staying on the table, and too many tokens being placed for like damage counters and things.
Right. But
Like
I
it
think-
seems very trivial to us, but
And then I think you either play Justice or Protection, and then you just try to stabilize and let them do, like the work, so they feel like they're accomplishing something.
yeah. And then you could be like, "Wow, you carried. Good job."
Yeah, like when Nicole was dealing 77 damage to.
She actually did though. She did an insane amount of damage. I was letting her like stuff with Mansion, but she did an insane amount of damage. Oof.
But yeah, I think Spider-Man, Captain America, are good heroes.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's a really likable one. I would even say Captain Marvel's fine if like your wife wants to play like a female hero or something like that. I would avoid Miss Marvel.
Yeah, she's too flippy and
Yeah,
all the Alter Ego stuff. Yeah, because Captain Marvel can flip into hero mode and stay there with her. You know, she can heal and draw and just pile on.
yeah, and probably works just fine with aggression.
Yeah.
Then Kennedy Hawk wants to know what is your favorite side scheme in the game and why?
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's
Favorite
that's
side
like
scheme.
man, that's a brutal question. I wanna say, probably one of the Nemesis ones. I like the Nemesis ones. Let's see. You know what? Maybe Legions of Hydra. because I like the way it interacts with Madam Hydra.
Yeah, that's very very thematic and fun.
Yeah, I'll say that. That's what I'm going to say. And hopefully I bought you guys enough time to find.
I was going to say my favorite side scheme in the game is the podcast known as the Side Scheme.
There you go. Wow. Suck up. I love it. Get
I don't know why. Yeah.
How about Doctor Strange's side scheme from his Nemesis pack? I like that one. That's the one that takes one of his invocation cards, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Something like, let me look quick.
It's not on Hull Heroes. I was trying to find it.
No, it's in our Discord though.
That's right.
Mine, I think, Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we just recently reviewed the Doomsday Chair. I think that comes out Tuesday. And we seem to really like that as the villains. But we really enjoyed the theme of Bomb Scare, even though it's super easy. But, sometimes a side scheme can be fun for not because it's challenging, but just because it's, I don't know, feels right. So, like the little Bomb Scare side scheme is fun because, it just plays interesting, even if you're going to crush it. It's hard for me to pick a specific side scheme, though. So
I think mine is Family Feud, because I can get like 21 thread on it, like you said.
Yeah,
like that's just ridiculous. So then you have a permanent acceleration token on the board. So I think that of the ones currently that we have, I think that one's the most annoying to deal with. So that I'm going to go with that one, Family Feud. But Steve had the correct answer. Tommy, this came from someone known as Twin Sons.
I've never heard of him. I don't know.
Whose beard is better, Doctor Strange or Iron Man?
Everything about Doctor Strange is better than Iron Man.
Okay.
I'll agree with the beard.
Why is D House again? Why is She-Hulk the red hero of Marvel Champions?
Because she's bad.
Yeah. She never even had access to It's a Trap. It's just bad from the get-go.
Yeah. No nerf needed.
I think that's it for questions then. You got any closing statements, Tommy? Or I think we're going to wrap it up here.
No, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for asking questions and participating. And appreciate it. There were some good questions tonight.
Yeah. Steve, thanks for joining us again. Door's always open. Whenever you want to hop on, just let us know. When we're recording,
thanks for having me on.
You can join us.
Yeah, I know you guys don't really cover like news or current events as much. It's more like on a theme. So whenever you need the outlet to chat, like Banana said, we're happy to have you.
Sounds good.
You're a critical part of the show now. So,
all right. Yeah. Speaking of, you can, just for your listeners, you can find Critical Encounters podcast out there on any podcast player. Just search for Critical Encounters, and we're talking about all the encounter cards and the villains and that sort of thing. And it's only about a half an hour, unlike this episode.
This monstrosity.
Yeah, not used to recording this long.
Yes, so I guess that'll do it for us. Thanks everybody for listening. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone.
For Tommy of Titan and Steve of Critical Encounters Podcast, make sure you check out their stuff. I'm BananaCrapshoot. Stay scheming, champions. Okay, now I'm going to hit this button here.
What's that one do?
I think it says I'm inevitable, but I'm not sure.
I am inevitable.
Well, it didn't work because I had it muted, but they heard yours.
Yeah, the voice changer was clutch. That was great. That was a great surprise.
But that went over well. Are we off? Are we still on? What's the deal?
Oh, we're off. We're on. We're off. We're on.